What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel, Pete's Car Report. So on today's episode, we're going to dive back into the SC300 project car that I picked up for $1,000, and we're going to be installing some budget coilovers that I picked up on eBay. And they are not eBay brand coilovers like you hear a lot of people say. They actually have a name, and that is MAXPEEDING rods. And yes, I just said peeding rods, not speeding rods. And that's kind of the joke all over YouTube. When people review these, they bash the product, and they are a lower cost product, but not necessarily a lower quality item. Most of the people that have reviewed these I've seen are comparing them to very expensive coilovers. And yes, I must agree, they're probably not going to be anywhere near your $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000 coilover sets. But this is a daily driving car, nothing to be drifted, nothing to be raced. But yes, I do want to have something of decent quality, so I'm willing to take that risk and test these out for you guys. But I went ahead and purchased their top-end ones for my SC300 and also picked up some parts that are going to make them even better. So I was in the middle of unboxing these when I decided that I was going to start recording and show you guys how we're going to improve these coilovers to make them even better than they come in. And I got to tell you, they are a great quality. As far as look and feel, they look durable. The paint is even great on these. These ones are different color than the ones I had ordered for my RX-8. I never got to put the ones in, but I did get a chance to look at them. I played around with them, and I did an insane amount of research and found a lot of people that said that they are terrible. They're clunky. They don't ride well. And then a lot of people commented that they've had them for years, and if you properly install them, they can be very good coilovers, better than the $500, $600, $700 ones like Teen and so forth. So we're going to find out if that's true. And I've already went ahead and pulled out this one here, and this is your front one. And one of the biggest problems that I heard on YouTube was the binding in the front. And a lot of that, from what my research was, is because the lubrication wasn't good on the pillow ball on the top here. So a lot of people would remove the nut here, pull off your top hat, and they would grease the pillow ball. But from what I see here, it almost looks like they may have solved this problem because this is covered in grease up here. So it looks like they heavily greased it. Now, doing my research, I found somebody who had went ahead and purchased the top hat bearing. And when I got the RX-8, I went ahead and I ordered a set of the top hat bearings. I think these ones are from Godspeed, I think it was, or something along those lines. And K-Sport and a couple other brands. BC makes a top hat bearing. And they sell them with their very expensive coilovers, and they don't even come with them. And so this is actually going to go right up in here, so we need to remove this entire section here. I'm going to go ahead and get set up. We're going to do that, and hopefully I'm going to be able to find these because I purchased these a while ago and link them for you guys. If I can't find these exact ones, I will link something similar. But it's kind of cool because it basically matches the color of the coilovers that I ordered. These are also the fully dampening ones, so it's got a dampening adjustment for stiff versus soft ride, and they are fully adjustable as well. So the two things I'm going to do right now before we actually install them, this is going to be a two-part video. So this is the initial setup. We're going to basically set our spring rate. I'm going to show you how to do that, and we're going to install the top hat bearings. So stay tuned. I'm going to get the camera set up, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Okay, guys, so these are the front coilovers for the MAXPEEDING rods, fully adjustable coilovers with dampening. And dampening is this adjuster up top here that allows you to adjust the sensitivity from hard to soft ride. That is really what I want to see, how good that is compared to what I've read online and videos I've seen. So I'm going to show you guys now how to set the preload. And preload is basically locking this spring into place. These springs are already set at a spring rate, and you never want to adjust the height of the car by tightening this up more. That could be actually very dangerous and very unsafe for driving. And I'm going to show you guys how to set the preload, because a lot of these less expensive coilovers will say they come with a preset. I do not trust that. I do not suggest you trust that, because these ones seem like they were a lot tighter than they should have been. And so I went ahead and adjusted the rears. I've installed the rears, and they seem very nice. Now, the ride height that came out of the box was actually very good. And when you have these out, you're able to measure or even count in between here. So you can really have these perfect before putting them in the car. And I highly suggest you setting it up like this, not rushing through it. So let me show you guys how to adjust the preload, and then I'll show you guys how to adjust the height once it's on the car. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that well, that I've got the camera adjusted. So you want to go ahead and loosen this bottom one up away from the top one. I guess you got to hold, if it's on there tight, you're going to have to hold the top one so that the bottom one loosen. Okay, and now I need to loosen this from the actual fitting. Okay, sorry about that. It actually was loosening up, but it was so tight on there that I've had to go quite a few turns, and I still haven't gotten to where it's hand snug up against it. Okay, that seems about right there, yeah. So you basically, now you want to turn this by hand so you get it snug. Give it one good turn like that. Okay, and then you're going to snug this one up against it. Now, when that's snug up against it, you're gonna make sure that doesn't spin. But you're gonna tighten this one to give you that gap. A little bit more until you can fit the tool in between. A couple more half turns here, quarter turns. It's almost there. Okay, it looks like it's basically there. Yep, so we're able to get that in. Now you're going to spin this till it's snug. And now you're going to put this one this direction and this one this direction, and you're just going to tighten them together so that they don't loosen up as you're driving. And that's it right there. Okay, so hopefully that helps you guys out on how to set the spring rate on these coilovers or any other coilovers. Okay, so now that you understand how to adjust the preload, and now keep in mind this is all stuff that I've learned through doing research. I've done a ton of research on these specific coilovers, and have found every issue that I've seen in videos and forums and stuff like that, and I'm trying to address those prior to putting them on. One of the issues that I found was these have a pillow ball bushing, which is a very nice feature, and it's basically that rubber ball that you see up in there. And the main issue was they don't grease them well enough from the factory. And it causes binding, which is a popping noise while driving, and it's something you see all over the internet, even on more expensive coilovers, like your $1,000, $600 to $1,000, whereas these were only about $220 shipped to me. So I actually went and purchased a bearing set here that was supposed to be universal, and I took this apart and was hoping to get that in there, and I just could not figure out how that gets put in there because of the way that they have the pillow ball bushing, and I didn't want to mess up anything on there until I did some more research on that. But this will usually go, you pull all that off, and this will slide right onto the top of the spring, like a top hat, and then that'll all slide in. The problem was this piece here was too large for the rubber grommet that was in there, and I'm sure I could change that out and get it to work. But what I wanted to also mention is how well greased these were. And I'm wondering if they've had so many complaints that they've went back and adjusted the amount of grease that they've added to the pillow ball, because I was planning on greasing it up even more myself. But this now also allows me to test these out of the box for you guys, and if I run into an issue, I can update you on doing this if necessary. Now, keep in mind too, this is many years later on some of these videos that had been put out where they were having these issues. So this company's now been doing these coilovers for quite some time, and the quality seems to be even better and more improved than they were in the past. So we'll find out though. Let me put these in my car, test them for you guys, and give you guys feedback before you go and spend the money, but at least I'm able to do that. So now that we've got the preload set, how are we going to adjust it once it's in the car? Well, like I said, you do want to adjust these prior. You can see these are different, so I'm going to want to make sure that these are the exact same height prior to putting them in, and you want to set them next to your stock spring struts that you take out of the car and see how high those are, so you can see if it's going to lower approximately where you want it to kind of give you an idea. Now, once you have them in, to adjust them, if you want to go up, you can actually keep this locked where it's at, and then you're going to place your wrench on here, and you're actually going to turn it down, okay? And then this is going to open up a gap. Now that gap is going to be how much lower you go. Then you want to, once you reach that spot, you're going to want to tighten this back up tight to lock that back into place. If you want to go the other way, you're actually going to have to loosen this up the amount of gap that you want it to go, and then you're going to basically turn this up till it rises up and meets that. While doing that, you're going to need to hold tight here, or the whole thing's going to spin and possibly change your preload. Hopefully that was a little easier to understand than I was trying to explain it. There's a lot of videos out there on adjusting this, but I wanted to quickly show you. Okay guys, so quick look at the rear. I'm actually thinking this side might be a little higher than this side, because this side looks really tucked. And that might actually rub if I hit a bump. So I'm going to have to probably adjust that side, but this side looks to be a little higher. I mean, absolutely looks to be a little bit higher. It's tucking there too, actually, so it might have just needed to settle down. I was looking at it earlier, but big difference from the front, which we have not done yet. So we're going to get on the front here. Probably going to be a different day, but same video for you guys, and you'll be able to see how the whole car comes out. Alright guys, so just to fill in, I tried to use the height that they actually came out of the box for the front shocks. Rear shocks actually worked perfect. It gave me like an 1/8 of an inch gap, and I had to raise them maybe just a hair on the one side, but it was a very minimal adjustment. So on this one it was 4 millimeters. On the rear it was only 3.5. So this was right around 4 millimeters, and I measured them both. I ended up having to pull it down to 6 millimeter distance just in order to have my jacket the full extension and be able to bolt this part in. It was that far away from the actual bracket. And so the fitment was great. I have about 1 finger gap. I'm going to show you guys the entire car once it's fully down, and then you guys let me know in the comments if you want me to raise or lower it based on how you think it should look. Alright, so stay tuned. Alright guys, so quick fill-in. Just got the fronts put on, lowered it down, and it was actually so low that I couldn't get the jack out. And yeah, so I'm going to basically have to raise them up a little bit. Now I tried to go lower on this side just to see, but obviously once you do one side and then the other side, the whole thing will get lower. I'm going to attempt to raise this one up to the same side as that one, see if it helps. If not, I have to raise them both up, and yeah, I'll pull it forward and see if you guys like the way the fitment is. Okay guys, so this is with a 6 millimeter gap on both sides. Obviously I'm rubbing, it's way too low. But in all honesty, this is kind of a testament to these coilovers, because I hear so many people talk about spending $600 and they just can't get the fitment they want. And that's half of the battle here, is obviously ride quality. You know, if you're going to track it, that's a whole different ball game. But this one's here, I went probably a little too low as well in the rear, now that it's settled. But earlier they looked really good. This is almost touching. I'm thinking what I can do is actually grind out the inside of this here, real even all the way around. Since we are going to be plasti dipping the car, we can, you know, cover that up. And The only reason why is because you can see it's very, very close to touching, and that would rub when hitting bumps. So I'm going to go ahead and raise up the front and see what we can do about the rear. Okay guys, so this is the final fitment for right now. Alright, I'm going to show you the gap here. It's basically right there. I'm not getting any rubbing. Now, of course, I haven't gone driving and hit any bumps, so we're going to test that. I've been able to turn the wheel fully on this, and you can see there it's about a finger. The rear, I'm probably going to grind out that inside or roll it. I don't think it needs to be rolled because it looks like you can easily grind out that. And same thing here, not rubbing at all while turning the wheel. And it looks like this rear might have, no, it's about the same, a little bit more of a gap. Now I tried to raise that side up a little bit more because it was pretty low, and it looks like I might need to go a hair higher on the other side. Unless you guys think I should lower it or raise it up on either the front or back. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. I want this first video to be about the fitment, the installation, and any issues I ran into. So I did a lot of filming. I'm gonna cut in what I think is necessary for you guys to kind of get an idea about these coilovers. Now, my impression, great shipping, got them in 2 days. Extremely inexpensive, 220 bucks shipped and delivered. As far as fitment, the actual fitment on the car is absolutely amazing. I cannot believe how low you can get these to go, and there's still plenty of room for raising it up if you need to go higher. But man, I could drop it to where it's touching the ground, which is absolutely insane in my opinion, because a lot of coilovers fail in that category. Now, as far as fitment is in putting them on, that's where there was a little bit of a struggle. I had to drill out the rear ones here, as you guys saw. So I had to drill a hole a little bit larger in order for the bolt to fit through. That was kind of frustrating. But the front ones bolted right up, no issues at all. And I'm going to follow up with a video on adjusting the dampening. I'm just keeping it where it was factory right now, which is right in the middle. And I'll play around with driving them, see how it feels on that setting, and then I'll adjust it to the hard and the soft in the next video, and I'll drive around and you guys can kind of see how it is going over bumps. But my name's Pete, this is Pete's Carport. I hope this helps you guys out there, at least on the initial impression of these MAXPEEDING rod coilovers. Have a great day, like, subscribe, and share.